On this episode of On Two Wheels, we'd like to introduce you to Yamaha's all-new FZ09 naked bike. Historically, naked bikes have not sold well in America, but the FZ09 is set to buck the trend. Pre-orders have been so strong that Yamaha has literally doubled production to meet the demands. The appeal is threefold. First is the engine.
Some of you may recall the FZ8. Well, the FZ09 replaces that bike and undercuts its weight and its price and totally obliterates it in terms of horsepower. Strapped to our dyno, this thing put down 105.6 horsepower at 10,200 RPM. That doesn't sound like a lot, but what you gotta look at is the power spread. This thing makes 50 foot-pounds of torque all the way across the rev range, and it peaks out at 61.3 at 8,200 RPM. The masterpiece of the FZ09 is definitely its engine. It's getting an 847cc inline triple. Triples are definitely making a comeback, and I think for good reason. They blend the power characteristics of a twin and an inline four, so you get the low-end power of a twin and the high revving horsepower of an inline four. And you top all that off with what is undeniably an awesome exhaust sound. Now, Yamaha has done a really good job of transferring its chip-controlled ride-by-wire throttle to all of its bikes, and the FZ09 gets that, which means you can adjust the engine dynamic. There's a button on the right cluster that lets you switch between 3 engine modes, so you can tune the engine behavior based on where you're riding and how you want to ride. There's B mode for the city, which gives you pretty soft throttle response. There's the standard mode, and then there's A mode, which gives you all the power all at once.
Then there's the styling. The FZ09 is obviously designed to emulate the look of high-dollar exotics from MV Agusta, Triumph, Ducati, and Aprilia.
The suspension is incredibly soft and underdamped, so truth be told, while the motor makes me want to just pin the throttle and haul up and down this road, I gotta be a little bit careful because the fork collapses as soon as you touch the brakes, and the weight transfer of the soft shock means that there's a lot of movement. It's really not the best thing for going through corners. That's unfortunate, but it doesn't really bother me that much because you can fix suspension and brakes. That stuff's not hard to remedy. What is hard to change is an engine, and this thing does not need any help. This motor is awesome. Compared to the FZ8, the handlebar is 2 inches higher and 1.5 inches closer to the rider, so you're really upright and over the front end. It's actually a lot like a Supermoto. One of the things that riding position does is it raises the bike's center of gravity. With all that torque on hand, it's pretty hard to keep the front wheel on the ground. And that means it's easier to wheelie. And the FZ09 likes to wheelie.
The overriding appeal is definitely the new 3-cylinder engine, and we can only hope that Yamaha slots it into a purebred sport bike in the near future. That's it for this episode of On Two Wheels. If you want to learn more about the FZ09, check out the article at motorcyclistonline.com, and if you've got any specific questions, feel free to leave a comment below.